morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on just another frosty morning lately. Really happy to be here. We've been working on this development since July of 2018, and we're finally close to the finish line. We bought this property in July of 2018, as I mentioned, and we've been working with the community since then. We developed a plan that we think is a win for everyone in the community of Oceanside, as well as the county of San Diego, really Southern California in general. Ocean Kamp is located at the corner of Tucson Road and Highway 76. As you all probably know, it's the old highway drive-in movie theater site. We've been grading it for about 2 years, which has been quite an experience. So what I'd like to do today is just kind of run through the project as we are moving it forward through the city process, and let me know if you have any questions along the way, or you can save those for the end. Well, this is just an overall shot. If you were sitting in a helicopter right above the corner of Tucson Highway 76, looking 76. Anyways, Highway 76 in the south is on the south side of the site, running right here. Tucson Road moves around the site, goes over the bridge over the river to the north. This is our main commercial component of the project. We have 126,400 square feet of commercial space, which is office, retail, restaurants, potentially some medical office as well. We have a couple of restaurants right on the beach we're creating around the wave pool. This is a 2-story building. It's like a rooftop bar and entertainment area. This is a restaurant that's associated with the hotel. This is our main hotel building. We have a total of 300 hotel rooms in the project. There's about 228 in the main building. We have 40 little casitas, as well as this really fun feature is we have 32 Airstreams that kind of provide like the glamping auto camp sort of experience. We also have some villa buildings around the project as well. And this building in the back above the wave pool is a multi-purpose community room where we can hold conferences, chamber events, events for the Boys and Girls Club, visit Oceanside, and everyone else in between. Here is the overall site plan. Again, you have Highway 76 in the south of the site, Tucson Road looping around to the north over the river. This is our main commercial component. And to the north is a residential neighborhood, and to the east is another residential neighborhood. The project is proposing up to 700 residential units. Those will be mixes of townhomes, some smaller single-family homes, and apartments as well. Potentially some senior housing as well. They're allocated essentially about 350 units over here, about 350 units over here. Moving closer into the commercial component of the site plan, you see the office, retail, restaurants, grocery, in this area. It's all very pedestrian friendly. It's very much designed so you get to the site, you get out of your car, and you're experiencing the entirety of the project. The hotel building is designed to really capture the views towards over the resort pool, as well towards the surf lagoon. And again, we have the Airstreams over here, the villas, these 2 beachfront restaurants, as well as the community center. Here's a view from that second floor restaurant bar I was discussing. Really trying to create an ambiance that's an experience not for just surfers, but for everyone. This is really intended to be an area where everyone in the community of Oceanside is hopefully really excited to come for the first time and quickly get addicted to it and have repeat visits over and over again. The whole project was really conceptualized around this theory of delivering the California lifestyle to every visitor to the project. So we really wanted to incorporate what we refer to as these pillars of engagement to the community, and really focusing on those particularly California things that we all do. Surfing being obviously one of them, mountain climbing, yoga, mountain biking, stand-up paddling. I'll go back a slide. I forgot to mention that The site is obviously adjacent to the San Luis Rey River. We're taking advantage of the fact that we're right next to the bike trail there. So we're actually linking up to the bike trail and bringing the bike trail into the site all the way around the site. This trail will have kind of multi-purpose trails kind of running in parallel. There'll be kind of a concrete walking path. There'll be sort of like a DG bike path. So you have the opportunity to mountain bike around it. You're not interfering with pedestrians and families walking around. And then we also bring it around in kind of like the fun mountain bike zone. We've been working with the San Diego Mountain Biking Coalition, even including a mountain bike pump track into the project. These trails loop into the residential neighborhoods and connect all the way around back into the San Luis Rey trail system. It's a pretty exciting opportunity because it's a 12-minute bike ride all the way down to the harbor, the beaches, and the Oceanside Transit Center. So there's really an opportunity to capitalize on, for residents or visitors, the opportunity to get to all points in Oceanside via bike, and you're basically never interfacing with vehicular traffic doing so. There's another look at the project looking west down the valley towards the airport. You'll see here we have this event lawn that's attached to that community center. The community center building is about 25,000 square feet. That lawn is another 20 or 25,000 square feet as well. So we have about an acre of area that is really programmed to be an event space that can be used by the entire community of Oceanside. We'll obviously have to manage it, but the intent is this is really kind of thrown open to the public. You can have weddings there, conferences, you could have a surf industry event, a mountain bike industry event, you can have various things, you can have commercial brokerage events. So it's really trying to bring the community into the project. This slide is really just speaking to the vibe of the hotel. It's all natural materials, using a lot of wood, stone, glass, and obviously we have the Airstream component as well. It's really kind of a stay laid back luxury. Just another shot of looking back northeast over the Airstreams and the wave pool. We really kind of we clustered the Airstreams so that you could have, family reunions or corporate retreats. You could have your company take up all 32 Airstreams for a weekend and have a big bonding corporate retreat. And we really think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that. We're going to have a lot of dining options on the site. The goal is to have kind of everything that anyone can want. So if you're there with your family, there's ice cream and waffles for the kids. But there's also fine dining for the adults. We're also looking to include something akin to a food hall, but more like a brewery hall. We had always thought that there would be a great opportunity to have a brewery on the site, maybe the local Oceanside one, or certainly one from San Diego. But as we got more into it, it became really exciting is that the vast majority of the local breweries in San Diego would love to have kind of a space within this hall so that they're all in a synergistic environment, and visitors to San Diego that go on the brewery tours now can actually just come to one place and sample all the beers. This will also include wineries as well, kombucha, probably the hard seltzer, all the various things that are kind of coming out now. So just speaking to the retail and the commercial component, again, it's very pedestrian oriented. It's very much designed to get you out of your car, walking around the site, enjoying the site, and hopefully spending quite a bit of time there. The commercial also includes an office component. We've seen a lot of changes since COVID, and that's driven a lot of changes throughout San Diego, and including kind of an exodus from Silicon Valley for a lot of the tech companies coming to San Diego. We believe that there's pretty deep market for a potential corporate headquarters here for a lot of different tenants. And the thing that's really driving that is there's very little new office space in North County, particularly in Oceanside. And there's just really not a project like this that provides the kind of amenities for the employees. And that's something I'm sure all of you have seen. There's a challenge now, not only in getting your employees to actually come back to work, but to actually come to the office and want to be there. And we're really providing an environment that is, I would go to work here every day. So eventually we have the project includes up to 700 residential units. It's a mix of townhomes, row homes. These are some projects I've done in the past, but this is kind of the vibe we're looking for. Just a lot of natural materials, 3-story. The whole site has a 50-foot height limit, so nothing's going over 50 feet. So these will all be 3 or 4, maybe 4 stories, but I really think they'll all be just 3 stories at the most. So this slide is just really speaking to what we're providing to the city of Oceanside. We submitted well before Oceanside adopted its newest climate action plan. So technically we don't have to comply with it. We're voluntarily doing so. Part of the ethos of this project is really health and wellness. And so as part of that, we believe that being environmentally friendly is part of the overall picture of being health and wellness. As far as fiscal impacts go, the project in a 10-year period will bring about $81 million to the city of Oceanside. We're keeping 20 acres of the project as open space. We also purchased a 16-acre site offsite and deed restricted it in perpetuity to be an open space along an established wildlife corridor in Oceanside. The project is going to create well over 1,500 permanent jobs as well as probably 2,000 construction jobs. We will include a cultural and surf exhibit on site. They'll probably be kind of rotating, but we'll be working with the San Luis Rey tribe as well to include some heritage exhibits as well as the California Surf Museum. We are also including an open to the public surfboard shaping day, which we think is going to be pretty fun. There's been a few of them in San Diego. A lot of them got wiped out by COVID, and people would love to see this back. It's also an opportunity to bring in guest shapers and live stream them shaping a board. And so you have this opportunity to actually interface with people you never have typically met in your life. I mentioned the 1.5 mile off-street bike and multi-purpose trail system as well. Community room. We're doing 5% of the units affordable on site, as well as paying a 5% in lieu affordable housing fee. But we are considering working with the community to deliver that other 5% offsite in other projects. Just a project timeline. So we submitted this application in November of 2019. We had hoped to be in planning commission this month. City of Oceanside has provided us with a new round of comments yesterday, so we have to work through those. Very unexpected, but we'll get through that. And the goal is to have this open to the public in spring of 2024. So with that, I will just turn to you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know.
We anticipate there actually being being able to have surfing competitions and things, because surfing is a big thing here in Oceanside.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I grew up surfing in Oceanside. It's a huge industry hub, and the opportunities to have events, contests, competitions are incredible here. We've had some initial conversations with some members of the International Olympic Committee about Los Angeles Games and whether or not this could be a site that's kind of an event site leading up to the games, or if things get a little kooky in Los Angeles, potentially it becomes a host site. So there's a lot of really fun opportunities with that. There's competitions and contests held in wave pools in Waco, Texas, and Lemoore, California, and they're wildly popular. So we believe that you bring all that to somewhere actually close to the beach and where there's actually population, particularly surfing population, that'll be really well received. It's great.
I know, well, especially based on your other projects, you're extremely community oriented when you move into a community. This is, for lack of a better term, is there some form of membership, some form of regular basis, other than, I'm assuming you're gonna give an Oceanside resident discount of some form, but is there some type of, I don't know, club? I don't know what
Yeah.
it would be.
It's a great question. It's one I'm trying to figure out right now too. There will definitely be an Oceanside resident discount for the wave pool. The calculus of figuring out how to run the wave pool with memberships versus hourly versus the hotel guests, that's something we're trying to figure out. And to be honest with you, there's probably going to be a lot of learning on the fly there. I've been working with some folks at Disneyland and trying to understand their model for how they run their membership program and then daily guests, because, you know, maybe a little different than Disneyland, wave pools, most surfers are just addicts, right?
Mhm.
And if they had, I know if I had the opportunity to surf here whenever I wanted, however I wanted, for how long I wanted every day, I'd be here every day. And the kind of the initial issue they ran into in Waco is they sold too many memberships, and the pool was just occupied by members, and they're like, anyone who wasn't a member couldn't get in. And so part of what I've been trying to like really convey to the community is no, like this is a community wave pool that we're very open to the residents of Oceanside, San Diego County. And so we're trying to figure out how that's going to work, but there will be some sort of membership and club that there's going to be something to that effect.
And will the Oceanside resident discount, because they're individual restaurants and that type of thing, apply to any of that or anything of that nature, or is everybody, because they're independent, it's just the wave pool we're speaking to?
I think it's just going to be the wave pool, but you never know. Like, I'm not going to be operating the restaurants, so we'll sign up maybe we get LTH to open another restaurant there, right? That's entirely their decision if they're going to do that.
Several of the local hotels and stuff have like staycation packages
Yeah.
that they offer to residents that are somewhat discounted that include all the amenities, maybe something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be staycations and day passes and things like that. So you don't have to actually be a hotel guest to enjoy all this as well. The hotel operator, which is we're getting closer and closer to the answer to who that is, and I can't say it today, but it's pretty exciting. I'm really excited about who I think the operator is going to be at this point, and that this particular operator has done some amazing projects that I'm sure everyone in this room is pretty familiar with, and so we're getting there. We just didn't need to get an approval, you know.
Yeah.
You mentioned that that the city came back with some questions. That is anything significant? I don't know if you can even share that, but is there anything that's would delay the project?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, we got a round of comments yesterday that were somewhat unexpected. So we're definitely delayed now, which is really unfortunate. We had really hoped to be at Planning Commission this month. We had previously had a December 13th hearing date, and that kind of slipped away. And now we got, there's some things happening at City Hall with people you might suspect who they are.
Yep.
And so that we just created a little roadblock for us, but we'll get through it. It's just the kind of standard thing when having done these kind of developments for a long time, at the very end, when you're almost at the finish line, is when a lot of scrambling starts happening, and it's like, oh my gosh, we're really going to approve this right now, and there's a lot of consternation at the end that you just have
Without
to
the
get through.
disclosure, like Scott says, obviously you probably can't. Is there something that we as business and the community as a whole could, let's just say,
Oh,
put
yes.
a little pressure on whatever it is in that
Oh,
direction
yeah.
that needs to happen?
I would
Is there
love that.
something you can disclose without disclosing what you can't, to tell us how to direct that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if everyone in this room is free to reach out to the city and, inquire why we've been delayed and what's going on, and we express enthusiasm and excitement for it. I mean, that would be incredible.
Letter of support.
Okay,
Oh, absolutely. That
yeah,
would be
we're all over
incredible.
that. Okay.
Really would appreciate that. This has been kind of frustrating here at the end.
What kind of capacity numbers are you gonna be? Like, how many people like on site versus like in the pool and stuff? Because I mean, I know,
That's a good question. So,
I mean, when it's a full capacity, like all Airstreams, all hotel, and then it's like, going back to the member, like,
it's several thousand people.
okay, so you can hold a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the wave pool's gonna be probably separate, because there's gonna be a waiting list guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy, Waco, Texas is sold out every day.
Yeah.
And it's 90% people from California.
Right.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Our wave pool, just to touch on that a little bit.
Mhm.
Our technology is really exciting. We can produce waves up to 8 feet high,
That's an awesome
Um,
technology. Okay, cool.
and wave lengths of anywhere between 15 and 20 seconds. Really pretty awesome.
Wow.
And the way we can run the wave pool is in our sort of like the max capacity version, as we want to get as many people as possible. The wave pool breaks, the wave breaks 3 times in one push of energy. So you can have basically 2 expert surfers in the water, 4 kind of intermediate surfers, and 20, 30 beginners on the inside.
Wow.
So it breaks like an 8-foot kind of pumping
Yeah.
wave in the beginning, and then like
Like an A-frame?
yeah, and we can make it an A-frame, we can make it all rights, all lefts. It's really fun. This technology is like you can contour anything.
Is
So
it similar to the Waco technology, like the freak peak and all that, and how you can turn it up and down?
it's similar but better. It's
Awesome.
kind of like the 2.0 version of that.
That's really cool. Wow.
So we use pneumatic air pressure and water pressure to fill up chambers of water, and then release that energy into the wave pool at infinitely controllable increments.
Wow.
So we can, in our prototype, we made like an 8-foot slab, and I think it was just mean. It was a mean wave.
That's so cool.
And you can make air waves, you can make
Yeah.
longboarding waves. So we could have like a full longboard contest where the waves are breaking perfectly for longboarders, but we can turn it into super high performance wave where it's like lowers on the best day of lowers ever. So it's gonna be so fun. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Since we're on that topic, Mike.
Yeah.
I know it's not sexy, but you guys have all this stuff right up against the wave pool. There's gotta be some mechanical engineering that I mean, I know this is work on magic, so where's that gonna be?
Maybe I can get it.
Let
Let me minimize that for you.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
No.
That's a good question.
These are good questions.
Because
Thankfully, I have the answers.
Because I've seen all the wave pools from everywhere else, and they've all got
Yeah.
a lot of mechanical and engineering.
Yeah,
And you've got grass.
Yeah.
Where is it?
So it's a good question, because that was a huge concern. They're loud too, that mechanic.
They're
It's
really
loud. So our mechanical equipment is all under this kind of event area. It's buried into the ground. It's in, the walls of it are about 1.5 to 2 feet thick. You're not gonna hear it. It's just completely.
how do you get to it?
Yeah, so how do you fix it?
So there's actually a little path right here. This takes us into the mechanical room of the wave
Wow,
pool.
okay.
Yeah, so you go right underneath it.
Oh,
Okay,
very
cool.
good.
It's really fun because the grade of this lawn over here is above the water line. So you're up there kind of standing above the water, looking down at the waves coming out. So it's a really fun experience.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. And so like, you'll hear the waves crashing, but you're not gonna hear the engines that are creating it.
Michael, on the conference space, and I'm not sure if you know this off the top of your head, but just wondering how many people it could seat for a dinner event.
So the building is 25,000 square feet.
Okay.
And then you have this 20,000 square feet out here, so you could have 600-700 people easily.
Okay. So along those lines, like if Oceanside wants to bring some major like conferences here,
Yeah.
would there be partnerships with other hotels for, for the rooms and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke with Visit Oceanside a little bit about that. So Leslie's very much dialed in with
Yeah.
that program, and Oceanside's been missing out on a lot of conferences.
Yeah.
There simply isn't a space for them. So part of what we're trying to do is create an opportunity for the folks that visit Oceanside and for Scott and everyone else to bring events to Oceanside. And
Is there a commercial kitchen right in it? I mean, is it catering being brought in, or what's the situation?
so that building has like what's referred to as a prep kitchen.
What's a prep kitchen?
So you can bring outside catering, like if you wanted Bagby to cater it, you can just bring Bagby's there and then prep it. If you wanted the hotel restaurants to do the catering, do that too. It's very, very functional, very flexible.
Do we have any questions from people joining us on Zoom? If so, just unmute yourself and jump in.
Mike, I have a question. You spoke that there will be affordable housing. Are the affordable housing purchases, or will there be affordable rentals included?
It'll be a mix of both.
Mix of both?
Yeah,
And with the affordable rentals, will you work with some of the nonprofits or organizations that provide affordable housing?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's again, when we do these kind of projects, it's not like we just do things a little differently than a lot of other developers. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to be working with the local communities and particularly that demographic. Yeah.
A question, Aaron.
Yeah.
So I recently surfed BSR in Waco for a couple of sessions. And I was actually wondering, what is the bottom made of for those surf pool?
So you enjoyed sliding around on bottom of the wave pool in Waco, huh?
Well, that, and then the end barrel section breaks in about 2 feet onto rough concrete. So I was wondering if this is rough concrete or not.
So there's a couple things in answering that question. So Waco's technology requires the water depth to be much more shallow. We're like 12 feet deep. So this is much more like being in the ocean. You're not going into a closeout barrel right under concrete and breaking the fins on the board and everything else. The entire pool will be made of concrete. We're looking into different foam applications to put onto the concrete towards the end sections of the waves, just to soften it up a little bit. But you know, we looked at doing liners, which is what you found in Waco, that's super slippery, which is actually just roofing material that they use. It just gets ripped apart. The wave energy is so strong, it rips everything apart. So you have to use concrete. But we're definitely looking at, if you're familiar with like rhino lining, like that foam spray that just adheres, it is adhesive to the concrete. So we're looking at doing something like that.
Got it. Thank you.
Mike, assuming that planning commission and city council and everybody goes along, which is a big assume, when does construction start and when is the projected opening date?
Yeah, so I was, again, hoping to be a planning commission this month. We're not going to be there. So everything's going to get pushed out. We're still grading the site. So technically we're still under construction, but we're actually almost done with that portion of the project. So I was really hoping to start construction by August and have this thing open by spring of 2024. But everything's getting pushed out now. So anyone in this room wants to help apply a little push to the city, that'd be great.
So just on traffic, I know the original entitlement was for almost 1 million square feet of retail. And I thought I saw somewhere that your traffic impact is significantly less than
Right.
the original entitlement.
Right. So you're right. The current entitlements are for 950,000 square feet of big box retail. Our project generates 40% less traffic than that project. So we really brought down the traffic impacts tremendously with this.
I think the other important part is the housing units that are allowed on site and what you're doing.
Oh yeah. So one thing to note, I know, 700 sounds like a big number of residential units. The zoning on the site would allow for up to 2,600 residential units. So we're really way under the maximum density. So again, that's just trying to work with the community and do a project that really fits in with the community as opposed to, shoving our own ideas onto the community.
Going back to retail, when are you gonna be like considering people to join and all that? How's that process? When is that? gonna
We're
start?
really like, we're getting there. I mean,
Okay,
it's-
you are.
It's,
Are you
it's-
a point of contact for that? If
Yeah.
there's people that wanna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we definitely have started meeting with office tenants, some retail tenants. But I can disclose some of them, like Billabong really wants to have like a corporate flagship store here.
Wow.
Who else is there? Canyon Bikes, another company, Yori is another company that's been looking at. There's a lot of companies you probably are pretty familiar with who's moving around right now.
Yeah.
Did Vans come through?
Vans is definitely on the horizon. So there's a lot of, so most of that industry, you can picture who they are. They're all in Costa Mesa. A lot of their employees live in Oceanside. And there's been a lot of talk about like, wait, how can we get in here and have this be our corporate headquarters? And it really fits with a lot of those brands' mantras. Another brand I've been talking to is Sunbum. Sunbum's really enthusiastic about the project, largely because it represents their ethos as well. It's everything outside, right? That's kind of where Sunbum's coming from. And this kind of fits their brand, right? It's surfing, it's mountain biking, it's yoga, it's like everything outside. That's what their ethos
Will
is.
you be conducting leases for these restaurants, or are you gonna rotate? Like, I mean, how's that? Like, someone wants to come in for 5 years, 3 years, or maybe a year, or how's that?
Yeah, restaurants are expensive to build out, so those are usually longer term.
Yeah, but
We might have some kind of like rotating. There was even a thought for a while, and we still could accommodate it, is having like a food truck, like day of the week, right? Where we invite food trucks to come down and have them on the site, just to provide some variety. But
looking for permanent, some
These-
people that
these-
want to stay 10, 15 years. Like,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, so we have some pretty exciting restaurant operators that we're talking to right now. So,
In the open space that you have, like in front of the conference center, all that green space, will that be used for any type of corporate picnics? I mean, can you do things like that in that form?
Yeah.
Or can people who are members, whatever, come and have their own picnic there? I don't know where it would be. Would that be a regular open space?
Yeah. So like, if there's no event planned,
Right.
it's kind of a free for all. But if Tracy Medical Center wanted to have a getaway for their executives, they could take a block of rooms in the hotel. They have their meeting space within the conference, but then they can have take advantage of the open space outside.
Which is inclusive with the indoor space, or is that a separate?
It can go either way. We could have multiple events on the site as well. You could have one little outdoor gathering and then having a gathering inside, or you can make it indoor outdoor.
Is your yoga being held there, for instance, your outdoor yoga?
There'll definitely be outdoor yoga there. There's another location on the project.
By the way, I appreciate the example of Tri-City Medical Center executives having a little event.
That's my plug. Let's see. Well, anyway. So over here we have about an acre and a half of event lawn. So this area here. So this is kind of set up to do multiple things: outdoor yoga, having the outdoor movie night with a screen project on the back of this building. You could have like the hula hoop people. Like there's just a lot of different things, different ways to use that space.
Do you have a license for live music?
We don't have a license yet, but there's every intent to include
Yeah.
evenings where like there's a band or a DJ or whoever out on this lawn, and we have
Yeah.
the waves going, and it's kind of like this whole big event that's just like basically a party on the site.
And you can see that Kaboo coming into this thing.
Yeah, big Kaboo's been mysteriously quiet. I know. There's no Caboose, I guess.
Yeah.
Where's the workspace, the office space actually located at?
Okay, that's located in any one of these 3 buildings. These are all 2-story buildings, so likely put office on the 2nd floor and some amount of, some office on the ground floor, but also having it activated with street floor or ground level retail and restaurants.
So what is your preference there, to have like one corporate headquarters there, or have multiple offices or open offices?
Yeah, it's a good question. Really, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you kind of want a balance. You don't want too much one way or the other because it exposes you to risk. It's just like an investment portfolio. You want to kind of hedge everything. And so, yeah, I'd love to have kind of one bigger corporate office tenant, then a couple smaller ones, and then opportunities for just smaller office space for small businesses that just want to operate outside.
And what's the square footage for the office space?
The total commercial square footage is 126,400 square feet. You know, if I had to handicap it, you know, maybe 80,000 of that's office and the balance is retail and restaurants.
Will it be shared office space, like we work and all this maybe? Or are you gonna try to stick to just, we don't know yet?
I don't know. I don't know what's happened to the shared office space. You know,
Yeah.
I have a good friend that runs Union Co-work. They've done really well, but WeWork got slaughtered,
Yeah, no,
you
I
know,
mean.
for a lot of different reasons. But
Yeah.
it's hard to say. And thankfully, the site plan gives us the flexibility to adapt to changing market conditions. You know, the world it just still hasn't figured out what it wants to be in the
And you're
post-COVID
gonna
area.
follow that, you know, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I originally designed this with like a big fitness operator. Well, that's like a terrible idea now, right? So. Yeah, it's, we definitely left it with enough flexibility that we can adapt to things. One thing that is kind of like a fixed point is we are gonna include about a 12 to 13,000 square foot, smaller grocery store. That is for the folks staying on site that want to do kind of the long-term stay and cook their own food. It's also to help the neighborhood to the north. You know, their commute to grocery is awful. And so that is one thing that I think is going to be a great advantage to that community as well as the project itself.
Pardon my ignorance. So with the surfing, will there also be other opportunities for like teaching wakeboarding, or is it strictly surfing only? Is there times for the professionals, the intermediate, the beginners?
Yeah.
Are there other aquatic things that you plan on doing, or strictly surfing?
It will be mostly surfing, but there's opportunities to turn the waves off entirely and have like stand-up paddle or stand-up yoga in the wave pool. And then as far as the like who's in the water, so I think as I kind of brought up earlier, in our like max capacity, we can have experts, intermediates, and beginners all in the water at the same time. There's also times where we might just say, hey, it's all beginners. Everyone, it's a free for all. Everyone get in the pool, and you turn the dial waves down to something nice.
Lifeguard come.
Yeah, right. And then there might be times where it's like, okay, this is a full professional contest, and
I think that would make sense. I think the professionals would get a little frustrated with those that don't know what they're doing.
yeah, it's the way we set up the wave and how this works. The interfacing of like the experts with beginners they don't really meet each other in the water. So it's really been something we've had designed
Which
around.
you mentioned, you're like a 2.0 is, there'll definitely be a 2.5, and
Yeah.
are you equipped to upgrade your system?
Thank you for bringing up this frightening thing about this whole thing. It's been really a pleasure to have been able to go test like every wave pool in the world. So that's been awesome. It's also been like crazy to see how like, oh, this wave pool was so good 2 years ago and now it's junk. And it's just, that is the scariest thing. Part of why I really like this technology is it is a redundant chamberized system. So there's basically 24 different chambers that are all working together to make the waves. Inside those chambers are motors and fans and these like basically giant air compression machines. Thankfully with that, you can just yank that out, put in a new system. So we did that with an old pool. We did it with a 40-year-old pool. We took out the equipment, we just put in our new stuff and it worked.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Like, oh my God, it works. Like, so we can always keep turning it up. There's a certain point where the wave gets a little too much. You know, the 8-foot wave is a real wave. And, you know, I'm not entirely sure we'd want to go much bigger than that just for safety reasons. To be honest, I have a
There'll be
few.
waivers, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I've certainly,
Stacks of them.
yeah, and there are definitely online waivers.
Yeah.
You know, I've surfed our prototype with some of the best surfers in the world, and I watched them pull back and like, oh, what's happening? This wave's gnarly. Like, you know, it takes, when it's fully turned up, it's a lot. But it's a great question, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot.
But you guys have, it looks like there's other water features as well, though.
Yeah, like pools or.
A pool
Yeah.
and like a lazy, maybe, I don't know, I don't see that well.
Yeah, sorry. There's just so much. to
Jacuzzi
cover.
there.
So,
A wave in the jacuzzi?
yeah, there's, we're actually looking at putting, like hot tubs in along the wave pool, so
Well,
like
keep looking
with
at that.
plexiglass.
Keep looking into that one.
But the resort itself has, several pools as well, so this is designed to have like a kid's pool, lazy river around this little like island that you can walk into, and then there's like an adult pool, because at some point, it's like, all right, kids, that's enough.
Yeah.
And then this pool over here is a rock climbing wall over water. So you don't need the straps or the person that puts all the harnesses on you and all that junk. You can just get in the pool and start climbing and fall in the water. So
That's
it's,
a pretty hard ball.
yeah, it's kind of funny because you start looking like, how tall do you want this to actually get?
Yeah.
But we've been looking at, you know, some pretty cool stuff where you like, it's indoor, outdoor, you start on the wall inside and climb out over the water and fall in. So you can do a lot of fun things with it. And that's again, that kind of goes back to maintaining some flexibility as to what the world looks like when we get there. But I think that's going to be a great feature of the project.
What are the dimensions of the wave pool?
It's about 4.5 acres. And it's 250 feet wide and 600 feet long, something like that.
250 by 600.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very much. I really appreciate your time.